What's the good word, Josh? Your boy DKB here. So we've spent a lot of the offseason focused on how to correct the offense. And for a lot of the conversations that we've had defensively, we've had our stroke of luck at that side of the ball in recent years, right? Generally health. We haven't had major injuries. We haven't had the same level of injuries impacting specific positions, if you want to exclude defensive tackle anyways. But as we pointed out, over the course of the last 2 years, just because you've had a top 5, top 10, maybe middle of the pack defense each of the last couple years, in our case, top 10 the last 2 years, that doesn't mean you can guarantee that moving forward, right? So we still want to make sure we can replenish the shelf. Make sure that we can find quality starters, maybe some surprise depth piece, key role players, etc. And I think we have 2 here that can get the job done fairly well, and they bolster us not just from a skill position place, but they bring a lot of other facets to this team as well. So one of the things I would say to keep in mind is that we've talked about the struggles with potentially having to overpay offensive free agents. Defensively, I think we can really sift through a lot of these names that are out there and find the value options. We've seen this coaching staff literally develop multiple players at each level of the field: defensive line, linebacker, safeties, cornerbacks. We've seen it done everywhere. So you feel really good about the idea of being able to take somebody off the streets, if you will, and inseminate them into this defensive culture and have them outperform their contracts pretty well, right? So one thing to keep in mind is we may be able to find some long-term value deals. We'll see how that pans out. But realistically, on the defensive side, I would say look for some key prove-it deals. And from the standpoint that I'm looking at, the Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, they have the advantage of being able to sell. If you're a defensive free agent, regardless of what's happening offensively, right? If you're about your paper, you want to go out there and get the biggest contract you can. Give us 1 or 2 years. We'll rebuild your value. You'll be looking like one of the better players, if not one of the best at your position during that span. Then you can go out there and cash in big, whether that's with us, whether that's elsewhere. And that can't go underrated while we still have Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich employed. Also, the 2 players we're going to be talking about here, they're coming off of generally excellent seasons, or they're having consistent excellent seasons under their belt. So Javon Kinlaw and Quandre Diggs are the names that I'm looking at for the defensive tackle and safety positions. Keep in mind, both of these groups really need a lot of help right now. We only have Quinnen Williams under contract in the defensive tackle room, I believe, and Tony Adams is the only safety under contract in that position group. So definitely some stuff that we have to work out there. You take a look at Javon Kinlaw first, right? Fox Sports AFC East analyst Henry McKenna, he actually brought up the idea of Javon Kinlaw tagging back up with Robert Saleh, and essentially for the same pitch that I just mentioned to you guys. Former first-round pick, has underperformed during his rookie contract. Go back to the guy that you've seen bring out the best of you early on in your career, and hope that he can tap into that magic again, and you recorrect the career arc for Javon Kinlaw. Still talking about a guy that was 6'5", 319 pounds. A lot of people talked about the athleticism he brought to the position, the overwhelming power that he should have, being able to dominate centers and attack that B gap without much of an issue. The problem with Javon Kinlaw isn't just a production issue, though. An ACL in 2021 caused a lot of missed games, and essentially over the course of his first 3 years, he's missed 27 games in total. The plus side to that is, at least from a recency bias perspective, he did play all 17 games in 2023, plus the 2 playoff games for the 49ers and the Super Bowl appearance as well. So seems like maybe the things are turning around for him. He's at his healthiest. Not only that, he's also been at his best, right? He's He had produced a 70.3 pass rush grade and 31 total pressures in 2023. Both of those numbers are career high marks for him. So this is kind of what you generally love to see if it's going to be a depth guy, somebody on the upswing. Javon Kinlaw can easily be a guy that can become a long-term piece depending on how he can develop with this team. And you don't have to make him a major priority agent, right? This is like a wave 2, wave 3 type signing in an ideal world for the New York Jets. Even if you pull that off in day one, as long as the money is right, it shouldn't matter so much. I look at Javon Kinlaw as essentially a Solomon Thomas replacement, which means he's going to be, DT3 for the New York Jets. Maybe he climbs up the boards there in an ideal world. You would love to see him be that long-term piece to pair with Quinnen, but, that's a long shot projection. So ultimately, I would say this could be an upgrade against Solomon Thomas, or for what it's worth. We have seen Robert Saleh pull out the best out of Solomon in these last couple of years that we've had him on board with us as well. So, interestingly enough, market value projection for him for Javon Kinlaw is probably somewhere in that $5 million range. Even that may be a slight overpayment, but understanding the need for pass rush pressure in any facet, right? It's not just the edge guys anymore. You see guys like Quinnen obviously getting paid quite a bit. Christian Wilkins is going to get a huge bag during this free agency signing. So nonetheless, that's my value signing. That would be the prove it, rebuild the value type deal that we give Javon Kinlaw. And hopefully that would be something that pans out, right? A lot of familiarity with Robert Saleh, easy connections there, right? One thing to put it over the top that Henry McKinnon was kind of saying is that with Kinlaw being a former first-round pick, he was on the upswing at the end of the 2023 season. He just didn't demonstrate the high-level talent over the course of his rookie contract. That was going to, make it an easy decision for the 49ers to pick up the fifth-year option, for example, or to think about re-signing him as a priority free agent for themselves. So a guy that's underperformed overall high level, right, over the course of his rookie contract, but he did have his career best moments in 2023, his healthiest moments in 2023, and Robert Saleh seems like he's found a way to pretty much unlock any defensive player's talent that's walked into his room. So we'll see how that pans out, if it even comes to fruition. The second name, though, I'm pretty excited about, Quandre Diggs. He's the complete opposite of a Javon Kinlaw, right? He's been a extremely consistent and productive performer over the course of his career. Not only that, his release isn't in the same bucket due to productivity or anything. Quandre Diggs was released as part of, call it an NFL scandal, if you will, but teams across the NFL dropped over $100 million in contract value with the safety cuts we've seen this year. So Quandre Diggs will be definitely near the top of a lot of lists, even for a 31-year-old safety, but he could produce the best value for what the New York Jets want to get. Now, value is relative. You take a look at Tony Adams. We had that undrafted free agent contract, which is going to make anything else look, like an overexpenditure. But Quandre Diggs is nice for many, many reasons, right? You also have the fact that DJ Reed may be somewhat advocating to get him into the New York Jets building, former 2020 to 2021 teammates. So got to chill with him for 2 years. They had a couple of interesting posts on X/Twitter, where ultimately it boiled down to, them potentially going through some joint cornerback workouts, which Quandre Diggs has, kind of joked about since his release, which he also handled well. He made a Friday post, joke about being fired on his off day. Nonetheless, though, Quandre Diggs' history is exactly everything you want in a veteran signing, right? You take a look at 67 consecutive starts since 2020. 3 straight Pro Bowls going from 2020 to 2021. Obviously, you would love to see all pros there instead, but still, even making it to the Pro Bowl is a special enough accolade. Over that course of the 3 years of him making the Pro Bowl, right, that's excluding 2023, 14 interceptions, 24 pass breakups. He's the first safety since Ed Reed to have 3 or more interceptions in 6 straight seasons. So all this guy does is find the ball, make plays, and even in his, you're taking a look at a guy that's in his twilight years, right, past prime. This is a guy that's been extremely successful. Again, if it's not for the money cost, the Seahawks were, I want to say, close to $30 million over the salary cap before they made a lot of those cuts, maybe more. You would imagine that they would have made him a priority free agent, right? Between him and Jamal Adams, I truly believe Quandre Diggs would be the guy they look at as the main safety to bring back. You also take a look at the safety room. Again, we mentioned only one player under contract. I could see this easily being a revamped room that significantly performs better than what we saw last year. If you have a Tony Adams, a Quandre Diggs behind him, who's more of a free safety, by the way. So not only do you have a consistent performer, you have a guy that can pressure Tony Adams to make sure he continues to improve heading into his 3rd year now with the New York Jets. The other side, you can take a look at Chuck Clark and pairing him with a rookie, or maybe bringing Ashton Davis back. Suddenly, you have a room that you feel extremely good about. Great mix of veteran talent and rookie depth, and you have the leadership to really help guide a lot of those individuals in that room. So ultimately, let me know what you guys think. I think both of these guys will be great targets for the New York Jets. And I think it'd be hard to overspend on these guys anyways, given the fact that Javon Kinlaw, again, he needs to rebuild his value, so people aren't going to be looking to overspend for his talents. And with Quandre Diggs, it's more of a matter of the safety room or safety position getting that running back position treatment, and you're seeing, dwindling value there. So again, not a position people are going to look to overspend for. But let me know what you guys think, and I'll get you again. Peace.